Traveling on most of our roads is not a pleasant experience. It speaks of the huge infrastructure deficit staring us in the face. Businesses are affected, economies on the low. Questions on how to navigate through these murky waters continue to reverberate. Experts say we must embrace project finance option. Stay with us as we bring you the next story.
Infrastructure such as roads, airports, seaports, power and telecommunications are very critical for any nation aspiring to play in the league of the world's biggest economies. While Nigeria, the world's most populous black nation, aspires towards that by 2020, the state of infrastructure in the country leaves much to be desired. Blessed with about 200,000 kilometers of road network, it is saddening to note that a greater percentage of these roads, which also cater for about 90% of freight, is in deplorable condition, often leading to gridlock, loss of manpower, and investment resulting from accidents. A recent case of infrastructure collapse is the Mokwa-Jeba Road, as well as the Michika Bridge collapse. The effect on lives and businesses can only be imagined as a long stretch of lorries and tankers conveying products to other parts of the country are left stranded. This has necessitated a call by the state government to the federal government to expedite repairs.
From what we are seeing today, the federal government must come to the aid of this particular road. The work is slow, and they need to do more. I want the acting president to, as a matter of urgency, even using a helicopter to come down here to come and see the situation of our national economy. Our national economy has run down to ransom. Every aspect of economy is in jeopardy.
The effect of these decaying infrastructure has raised dust in different quarters concerning what the government might be doing to remedy the situation. Only recently in Kaduna, petroleum tanker drivers who appear to be the worst hit held a meeting to press home their demands for urgent intervention as their members were exposed to too many dangers, having to sleep on the highways due to poor infrastructure.
What we expect from the National Assembly is to release money to the Honorable Minister to let him perform. Because what the tanker driver witnessed in this country, on Nigeria highways, is very, very serious. It's very tedious. You see the tanker driver are spending 2 weeks inside bush because go by yourself and go and see what is going on along Jeba Makwa Road. It's not that place alone. If you pass through Okene, Bini Road, you see what the tanker driver are witnessing.
The state of infrastructure has been blamed on past administration's lopsided budget, which saw recurrent expenditure gulp up as much as 90% of total budget, leaving next to nothing for capital projects. The emphasis on road transportation as against other means of movement has not helped the nation's road network. However, to get the country's seaports to optimal level, about 100 billion naira is believed must be allocated within the next 10 years. Similar gesture of much higher figure is needed in the energy sector as well. Various reports have shown that there is a huge infrastructure deficit that would require about 3 trillion naira annually to close the gap. There's only little the government, which has been the key player in delivering infrastructure, can do to turn the tides around. At a workshop in Lagos on finance and development of capital projects, emerging solution, the president of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors points at a possible way out of the situation.
There's no way government can meet up with this amount of money, and that is why private sector has to come into play by looking at different options of financing infrastructure. if we leave it to government alone. So many factors are working against the government funding, availability of funds that government has. So private sector has to come in. PPP procurement, programs that we've had in the past, we have just a very insignificant amount of success, and it's very, very vital that we look at, benchmark other countries and see how they manage their own infrastructural development. Those governments, apart from the very oil-rich ones like Dubai or South Africa, who could afford from the oil, the resources, the revenue that they get from oil, to pump into infrastructure. And even then, there were so many investors that came in to invest in the infrastructure development of those countries. In Dubai, Dubai is a typical example. Dubai is a desert, as you all know. But today, if you go to Dubai, what do you have? Beautiful roads, one of the biggest hotels, infrastructural projects, excellent, and they are just expanding and expanding and expanding. One of the biggest airports is in Dubai. Hospitals, people go to Dubai for medical attention. Saudi Arabia, they go there for medical attention. Why? Because the infrastructural facilities are there.
Corroborating her point, Adeomi Akinkpelu, a research expert, outlined some steps government must take to be able to attract projects finance.
The first thing is to create enabling environment. And I think the present government is trying to address it by starting with the ease of doing business. The acting president has given executive order. It's a very, very good step toward the right direction. The ease of doing business, when private sector wants to come to Nigeria to come and invest, at least the issue of, institutional, hiccup and bureaucracy, official bureaucracy they are trying to remove it. That is number one, institutional reform. The next thing is legal framework that will make the private sector be comfortable, that there won't be any infractions, and if government should renege on the agreement, you can easily enforce there's contract enforceability, and you can address the issues that has to do with legal framework. And again, financial framework. Government needs to look at the provision of infrastructure as a social responsibility and not as investment. By creating enough support, there must be government support. There are some projects that by their nature, they are not bankable. They are not attractive. The number one is road, things like health, things like education, they are not bankable. Government needs to give support, let the private sector come, do let the MDs drive the process by coming up with a well-detailed outline business case that will give clear-cut direction to the private sector that if they are coming to invest, the project is bankable and attractive enough, and it has enough potential to generate enough revenue to defray the cost of the project. We are not still looking at that. We need to look at that. They need to empower ICRC, Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission. They need to empower them. And MDAs, they need to change the narrative by seeing PPP as the way to go, because budgetary allocation is not enough.
At the center of good governance and public welfare is adequate infrastructure, and whatsoever it will require to fix these daunting challenges must be explored so as to effectively deliver on promises upon which they were elected into offices.
Certain questions remain unanswered. What happened to the Ministry of Works that used to be very hands-on, maintaining roads and constructing others. Now, why has the workers there reduced to only file carrying capacity? What happened to all the equipment they once had? The Ministry of Works apparently needs to bounce back to its original capacity. It's time we called it a day on Eyewitness Report. Next week, we hopefully would be back. But till then, I'll keep my eyes on you. I'm Chris Elems. Bye-bye.